Family. What does that word mean to you? Is it childhood memories? A sense of safety and comfort? The people who walked before you and paved the path you now travel. In this documentary, we're going to talk about family, our family, and how it shapes us. For better or for worse, family is a part of who we are. The choices our ancestors made long ago shape the world we live in today. And the choices we make now will ripple forward, impacting generations to come. I invite you to listen closely to the voices of our ancestors. Their stories live on through us. So I am here at a 77-year-old house on West Mile Drive in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. I've had the incredible opportunity to interview several of my family members on the front porch of this house that holds so many vivid memories for many of us, me included. This house was built by Benjamin Phillips and his wife Geneva Phillips in the 1940s. And that's where many of the stories begin, right here at this very house. But our history in Nash and Edgecombe counties goes back much further than that, and some of that will be discussed today as well. When I first decided to make this family documentary, I didn't really know what I was getting into or what I was in for. But as I have interviewed many of my family members, I have learned what makes us who we are, the stories, the history, the ancestry that has really formed who we are as a family and who we are as individuals. The theme of this family reunion is voices of our ancestors. Their stories live on through us. This story, our family story, is told through the eyes of the people who lived it.
I'd like to talk a little bit about Pop Ben. Pop Ben was quite a fella. He was, I guess, stature, he was 6'1", 6'2", very slim. I guess he only weighed 165, 170 pounds, but strong as a mule.
He was tall and skinny. He wore overall pants, and he didn't wear a belt. He had suspenders because he was that small, so he had suspenders. And I remember one time he wanted to gain weight, but he could never gain weight. He would get him some weight on and drink the weight on, but he would never gain no weight.
Pop Ben was a tall, slim man, and I can remember being in Jack and them living room, seeing Pop Ben sitting in his bedroom in that rocking chair with one leg crossed over the other, and the leg that was crossed was touching the floor.
He always kept us working. I remember my brother had to get the scoop, clean out the mural lot. So you go in there and shove all that stuff out that's all on the ground and shove it up, put it on the wagon, and he would take it out there to the field where he's gonna plant a crop at, or his watermelons, and just throw it out there on there and then go back and grind it up in there. They the best watermelons.
I had a big watermelon patch and so many watermelons out there that he even allowed us as children. We could go out there and just bust one. Because I remember busting a watermelon in the middle of the field and just sitting down there and just having a feast. And Pop Ben didn't care because he had so many big watermelons. He just knew how to grow watermelons.
He would always tell us, save you up some money for Christmas. He would take us down to First Union Bank and say, start a bank account. Save some of that money. Don't spend everything you got.
We done a lot of farming. Pop Ben taught me how to farm, how to break land, how to disc up land, how to smooth it out, how to plant crops, how to do all that, because once he got to a certain age, he was unable to do a lot of this stuff. So he taught me how to do it, and make sure I done it right. He oversaw it to make sure things was done properly.
He would help us sometimes. I remember him helping us pick cucumbers. I said he must couldn't hardly see the cucumber, because nobody wanted to get on his road the next week, because you ain't gonna hardly lead it in because there be so many cucumbers. But he'd be out there trying to help.
Because Pop Ben would get them each an acre of land when they turned 18.
All the boys.
All the boys. They would get an acre of land, and you know, they did everything, and when they got the money, that was their money. Yeah, so he was a pretty fair man. I liked him, and he had a rule: once those men leave the house, those guys, they couldn't come back. They were coming back.
White people would say, Mr. Ben. They always said Mr. Ben, and I think about him not too long ago. I said, they always call him Mr. Ben because Pop Ben was not scared of white people, period. It's back then when I was growing up, it was some black people that was scared of white people, but Pop Ben wasn't. He had his own land, and he had his own farm, so he said, I don't have to have any of them to tell me what to do.
And Mike, he used to always, I remember him telling more that Mac, he going astray, Rufy.
I was kind of hanging out with some guys one time. I was young, 15, 16, and Pop Ben told Mom, said, Rufy, you better get a hold of that boy. The boy going astray. He saw the path that I was headed down, so what he done, he went out and bought me a suit to take me to church with him. So he gonna try to get me off in that path and put me on this path. Yeah.
And we would do cucumbers. I remember he would go up to Sandy Cross Highway after we'd be done pick the cucumbers and stuff, and he would get some ice cream and some vanilla wafers. Jack remember that too. And we would all sit around the table with bowls. And
I tell him about it. I didn't have a dad, and I thank God he was my daddy. Because if I had went with my real daddy, ain't no telling where I would been. But because I had my granddaddy, it was like he was a daddy. He taught us how to work. To me, it was a good granddad. I don't have no bad memories. I guess I could say I'm who I am today because of him.
My memories are nothing but good of Pop Ben, and I know he was stern probably with his children, because, you know, like any dads, his boys sometimes they bumped heads, but as a provider, you're not gonna find anyone better, and nobody could say anything different about him being a provider. He was a definition of a provider, and not just a provider to his family, he helped out others too.
I remember when they told us at Nash General, he was at Nash General, and they said, don't seem like you're gonna make it, you know, like that and stuff. And I remember I was just crying, and Uncle Gene told me, he said, now Glory, wipe those tears. He don't need to see you crying. And I never seen him cry before. But when I went in there, he started crying. I'll always remember that, you know, he hated leaving us too and stuff, you know. And it was Miss Flora. She used to say, oh, Ben love those grandchildren. No grandchildren love Ben. I would hear her saying that and stuff, yeah.
This is the house that Pop Ben built. And the way I understand, he paid for it. You know, back in the 40s, they weren't gonna give a black man any loans, so I think he built it with his own money.
Later on, Pop Ben was like he wanted his own, because they got tired of sharecropping, because at the end of the year, you ain't got, the man say you ain't got nothing.
Right.
So you did all this work and you get nothing at the end of the year. Because he said, took care of y'all staying here, whatever. So he eventually decided he wanted to get his own, and he got this place here.
Pop Ben and my grandmother, Geneva, they lived in a house owned by Johnny Bone, and they sharecropped with him. And my mama told me that while they were sharecropping, Pop Ben would save some of the money that was left over from the previous crops, if there was any to save. And he saved enough money to buy this property here from my grandmother, which is my father's mother.
What's her name?
Her name was Ramanda Joyner Parker.
The way it was told to me, Grandma told Pop Ben, said, listen, Ben, don't build a house right on the road, build it back in the field, you know, away from the highway and everything. But he didn't listen. He put it close to the road, and when they widened this highway, they took a big portion of the yard. But hadn't he listened to Grandma, that wouldn't have happened, because we would have been further off from the road. Sometimes you got to listen to your wife.
Yeah. This house was, you see how big the house is? You see this? It'd be 15 people in this house, and the grandchildren. Everybody sleeping everywhere, all on the floor, all over the place. But it'd be so many people at Christmas time in this house. There was always Christmas tree and a lot of food, because Grandma always cooked. So it was plenty of food, and in that evening, everybody got together on this front porch and just got together and talked on the front porch.
Pop Ben kept some food in the house. And that was back in the 50s. Everybody didn't have money for food. Pop Ben did. Mom said she never went hungry as long as she was here with them. Mom said that Grandma really took care of her, really accepted her into her home as a young, because by that time my mother's mother had passed. And so the only mother figure she had at that point was Grandma. And my mama loved Grandma because she was so good to her. As a daughter, you know, all daughter-in-laws don't get that treatment from their mother-in-law. And Grandma was really good to Mom.
Now my grandmother, she was a good cook, and she worked hard on the farm. And she would sit on the front porch after cooking in the summertime, after they done everything, cooking and thing. Her and her sister, Aunt Florence, they would sit on the front porch. This porch right here. And I would sit out there with them too, because I was about 6 or 7. I would just snuff with them. They be talking about people in the neighborhood. It was so interesting. If anything was going on in the neighborhood, and then they realized, they were like, this girl, Verlene, go play.
And they came to live here because she lived somewhere over there by City Grove, and their house caught on fire. And so they didn't have any place to go.
Was this before they had any children?
No, they had children already. The house caught on fire. They had Verlene, Paulette, and Junior. Mom said that the children were in the house, and she had gone to the bathroom. You know, to the bathroom, of course, was an outdoor bathroom, and she had been cooking that morning, and I think she left something on the stove. And she said all she could do was get the children out and lay them out on the lawn, on the grass. So that was very traumatic. So they came here to live, and she wasn't working. So Aunt Flora and Grandma Geneva and Aunt May Ruth, they were all here most of the time during the day. Mom said they would just talk and drink coffee. Talk and drink coffee.
I remember my grandma, because I used to follow her around. I remember when she broke her hip, she was going over to Uncle Buddy's for a bucket of water. He lived right next door to us. And she was about to get up the steps, and I just remember the bucket of water falling and me running on in the house to say, Grandma fell. Yeah, when I recall her, it was just always just acceptance. I would feel, you know, really accepted and loved. And I remember one time Nisa and them was here, Uncle Gene, them children, and Grandma had an apple. And I remember her taking that apple, and I was like, just looking at that apple, like the apple ain't but so big now. I'm wondering, am I going to get an equal share of that apple? And I remember she sliced it in such a way that nobody could really complain, because it was like it was an equal share for everyone, you know. And it just always seemed like she was just like, she just seemed like she was there and was for you, you know.
We played constantly here. We would come here and we played forever, from, I won't say dusk to dawn, but we played till, we didn't have lights or anything, so we just played till it was dark. So that was, and we had a bunch of cousins, so we always had someone to play with. You know, the 5 of my siblings, which is five of us, and then of course cousins. So it was always someone to play with, always someone to play games.
But the memories that I have of this house in particular is the ditch. We've all probably talked about the ditch. I was telling you, I jumped the short end of the ditch because that's the wide end.
We used to come down here on Sundays. My daddy used to bring us out maybe probably like 10 o'clock in the morning, and we would leave it was dark when we left. So we would play Ain't No Bears out tonight. Grandpa killed them all last night. And then somebody would come out and say, rah! And there was a ditch right here. And in the midst of saying rah, we had to jump the ditch. And I had a dress on, and I fell in the ditch and tore my dress. I didn't even care, I kept playing. But
Like if mom didn't have a ride to get home from work, Pop Ben would pick mom up. Now, and me and Glory, because I was over here 10, 11 o'clock at night, we over here, Gloria and I would ride in the car. Pop Ben couldn't see nothing. Girl, he'd get in the car. By the time mom I'm gonna tell you what Pop Ben would say. He said, I can't see a damn thing. Girl, we knew we couldn't see. He was all over the road. Gloria and I was like, oh dang, he could not. So as soon as mom got in, mom drove. And then I felt bad for them to get from where we were down here, but I was gone, I was free. Glory had to ride the rest of the way with Pop Ben and him not seeing.
here we have the family tree of Benjamin Phillips and Geneva Phillips. Benjamin and Geneva had 10 children. Benjamin, or Pop Ben, was born on February 4th, 1894. His wife, Geneva Macklin Phillips, was born on July 31st, 1897. Pop Ben's parents were Warren and Penelope Neppy Phillips. Pop Ben's father, Warren Phillips, was born in 1854, and his mother, Penelope Neppy Phillips, was born in 1856. Here's some footage of us trying to locate their gravesite. So, as a part of this documentary, I am trying to find as many graves as I can. We have been in this graveyard for a while, looking, even with the drone, for Warren and Neppy. It is a very grassy, grown-up graveyard, and we have found their gravestones right here.
So when did she die?
1856 to
1936.
1936.
Yeah.
So grandma was 9 years old when she died.
Uh-huh.
My grandma was 9 years old
Okay.
when she died.
Wow.
Her grandma, that would have been her grandma.
Yeah.
Mom said she remember messing with her earrings. Cause they took them to the house.
Wow.
They kept them
All
in the
I've
house.
heard from mom is the name Neppy. That's all I heard. That's all.
Neppy Phillips, born
Wow.
1918.
Great grandma.
Well,
Our great grandma.
Mhm.
And our great granddad.
These are Pop Ben's parents.
Yes.
And then so we were getting ready to go, and there they are.
Niecy sent up a prayer.
Listen, I cannot explain what I cannot explain. That wasn't none but God.
And it had even started raining, and y'all, the rain done cleared right on up.
I was right over there. I said, Lord, please help us to find it. And not more than 3 minutes later,
I said, here they are,
here
right
they
here.
are. Look at this.
Yeah, and they got to be some kin in the family because this is a family plot.
Because we walked right past this
Sure
and said,
did.
these are Phillips, right?
Uh-huh.
Jesus.
Pop Ben's father, Warren, had parents named Prince Phillips and Rachel Riveth Phillips. Prince Phillips was born in 1818, and Rachel Phillips was born in 1830. Prince and Rachel, as well as Warren and Neppy, were all born before the end of slavery, which means that they were held on a plantation. I've always known that our ancestors were held on a plantation in Edgecombe County, but other than that, the details were pretty vague until I talked to Gloria.
It was raised up on that Phillips plantation.
So they were on, because there was a big Phillips
It was a Dr. Phillips.
So that's the plantation.
Uh-huh.
So before we came here, the committee was talking, and we were like, Danielle you did hours and hours of research to find this place. And the committee was talking about whether we were going to come out. It's in Battleboro, One of the persons on the committee was like, I'm not coming out because I'm not going to get shot out them people farms and blah, blah, blah. I said, God has not given us the spirit of fear. I'm not scared anyway. God has not given us the spirit of fear. So because Damiel had already done so much work, we came. But back up, we was over here at the graveyard, the grave place, about two and a half miles, and we prayed.
Yes.
And we prayed, and just like we prayed there, and we found it, God granted us another grace. He granted us grace again. He granted us favor. We came over here. We talked to the man that's just as friendly as he wants to
nice.
be.
And we saw a rainbow. Did y'all see the rainbow?
And we saw a rainbow. That was a sign from God. Go ahead, Vicky.
That rainbow, it was like a sign from God. We knew that everything was gonna be okay. We knew when we got on here, we weren't gonna see no Trump flags and no stuff like that. And that man came out of the house. He was just as nice as he could be. And he told us to go on over here. He told us to open the door, but go in the house and look around, do what we want. God is good.
And that's what we're gonna do.
I feel like through this process that I've gone through of interviewing family members, I've discovered more than I ever even anticipated. And not only have I learned about ancestors from our past that I didn't know in real life, I have learned about the living, breathing people that are here now that I also didn't know as well as I do now after interviewing many of them. And for that, I will be forever grateful.
But family is really the glue that keeps a person together. Family, you can always choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. So family is everything.
Love. It's about love, I mean, we have disagreements, and you might say some stuff like, I ain't trying to feel that right there, you know. But at the end of the day, it's all about love. And we love each other, we connect with each other, and we are there for each other.
The first generations of Benjamin and Geneva, all of them are gone. They're all gone. It's now us. It's now us to make sure that that legacy continues. And the way we're going to make that legacy continue is to hopefully keep gathering with the family reunion. The family is the product of the salt of the earth. But for the family, nothing else would exist. And it's because of that family that we're here today.